action.
Every time.
Another Friday, another episode of the Weekly. Riley Eager, always a pleasure.
Every week.
We might take this time. Come here, sweetheart. Come here. We'll introduce you to our CS dog. Come here. Come on. Come say hi.
The office pup.
Come say hi to everyone.
You're up high. Look right there. There she is. Big topic we wanted to talk about this week was when we come visit shops and whether or not people find that effective. We wanted to give you guys our thought process on what it means for us to come do on-sites and kind of what it's been in the past for other manufacturing software companies and what they consider an on-site versus what we do. So we're just going to kind of dive into all the different shops we've been to, what it means, the stuff we learn, and how it benefits pretty much everybody here.
Perhaps you can kick it off and tell us a bit about what your experience has been
Absolutely.
with on-sites with some of the shops you've worked with.
For me, I probably went to a shop every week for my first month and a half or 2 months just because I wanted to get a full understanding of how people interact with our platform, what they're seeing, what buttons they're clicking, because there's only so much we can do from a video chat, right? So we can see their screen, but we can't see all the faces or the people that are sitting next to one another. So going to a shop, you walk in, you get to see the environment that you've kind of like, you have this imaginary fictitious, what is the shop like? And then you get there and you get to see the people, you get to shake the hands, you get to smell the coffee that's brewing, that whole thing. And then you get to hang out with them for the entire day, which is really cool because from their side of it, they get to see us, which they've only heard via, video chat. Essentially, a lot of times they don't even know what we look like. And then I get to sit at the desk with the individual that's using the platform, and I get to watch, okay, so this guy comes from his left, gives him a stack of paper, he flips to the second set of papers, he looks at it, he goes into paperless, he goes back, he checks it off, and I kid you not, a lot of the time it's actually us just eliminating steps in their actual process because I'll be like, oh, hey, why'd you do that? I'm like, oh, I'm doing it for 8 years, 9 years.
Yeah, but why?
And I was like, I know, but like, what was the purpose of him coming and printing that and giving it to you?
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know. Like, honestly, I don't know. We come in and we simply ask the questions. It actually prompts a lot of thought, and in no way are we trying to make you do your business differently.
Totally.
It's just asking the right questions because we've seen a lot of shops and we want what's best for our customers. So on-sites are amazing, like in the gist of it. And I encourage every user that we have on the platform, invite us. We have the green light to go
anywhere,
pretty much anywhere.
To visit any of you.
The really neat side of this is it benefits so much more than just us. We get to call up, our head of product, or call up our designer, or call up our CEO, and be like, "You won't believe what I just watched them do on the platform." And we all
that affirmation is huge.
Oh my gosh, we all here get to learn so much about the way that you use it, and it may be intuitive to us, but other people are like, no idea where that button is.
I think so much of the fun I have in working with our customers is watching their instinctual reaction to this, and that's where the on-site is so important, right? Because when you're on the video conference, right, most of the time we're dictating and they're driving, right? We're narrating and we're saying, okay, well, this is what, go click here, right? I can't see them do it. I can see them do it on the screen, but I can't see them do it, right? Whereas when you're there in person, that instinct kicks back in, right? Where it's like, okay, I have the freedom, I have the confidence. You're in my office, right? This is my terrain. Let me do that. Let me just do this because this is how I've always done it, right? And then you get to see that organic reaction, right? Which in turn is very valuable for us, right? Because again, we get to come back and report what we saw, right? We get to discuss why that even occurred in the first place, right? And then just help them make better decisions and streamline everything.
Yeah. So one of the biggest things that I see probably when I'm on site is the shared drive, right?
Yes,
so
totally.
A shop's shared drive blows my mind, and it is confusing yet delicate yet organized for their sense.
And the most just so critical.
It's a heart. A Z drive or a P drive is the heartbeat of your shop.
Yes. Yeah.
Change my mind otherwise.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see the way people interact with their shared drives because it's click folder, customer part number, put the files in. Like, okay, we just went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows deep. There's a path there. But it's really hard to come into a situation like a new customer, let's say a new employee, and then learn a shared drive. It's like onboarding in itself of I got to go learn where the shared drive is, what the categories are, what the folders are. I don't want to screw anything up. So I think that also plays into like the fact that we want that information in paperless for the sake of it's way more accessible and way more understandable if it's in a platform that's quickly searchable, it's categorizable, and now you're able to communicate around those folders or those part files essentially.
So with the on-sites, I also feel, I think we're past this hump now, but we have experienced that intellectual and emotional hurdle with some onboardings, right? And I've found that looking at someone in the eye, talking to them, shaking their hand, and sitting down and kind of pulling up the chair and committing to grind with them on figuring out the platform goes a long way, right? And it pulls the buy-in out of them, and they get invested.
Way faster than a go-to meeting.
Yes.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I would say I would push for a in-person onboarding like phase 1 9 times out of 10. Unless you're like an absolute grinder and you're like, I don't have time for you guys to show up, like let's do a video chat for an hour and call it a day. We get that. We respect that.
The on-sites they can be like 3 hours. Like it doesn't have to be the whole day.
Nuts. If you're on the other side of the country, I may hang around for the whole day.
Yeah.
But
it really is revolving around like how you feel with the adoption, right? Because there's certain elements of the platform that we have to get to an onboarding because that's what you paid for. Like, I want to get that value. I want you to experience that value, right? That's our job. Is to make sure you experience that value, right? And so if we do that in an hour, like that's amazing. If it takes 4 hours, it takes 4 hours. If it takes 9 hours, it takes 9 hours. You know what I mean? It's like however long it takes, it's our responsibility to make sure that it is accomplished, and that whenever we are done with that onboarding process, you are ready to succeed with the platform.
Absolutely. I don't know if any of you follow us on LinkedIn. We recently put out a blog post about credit cards and offering credit cards, and how strange it feels for manufacturing. In certain senses, because a lot of people just aren't used to buying. A lot of shop owners don't think their buyers are used to checking out with a credit card, which is an interesting concept because the buyer persona is changing quite a bit. There's that older crowd, let's say like when you bought your first Bridgeport, like those kind of custom part buyers, versus now where they're guys our age that are fresh out of college. They have worked, maybe 2 or 3 years, and now they're in an engineering role and they need to buy prototypes. What are they used to doing? Checking out on Amazon, checking out on online websites, using a credit card.
Very easy credit card checkout.
Just put in your information, your stuff shows up. You don't have to talk to anybody. You don't have to
send an email.
Back and forth, and then go to your purchasing department. But it comes down to convenience, really. So what we're seeing is like we saw a decent split of PO to credit cards. We had predicted a ratio for a couple of years, and it held true. And now we're starting to see this credit card ratio grow and grow and grow. And it's because we're seeing buyers at these large defense companies and at these, prototype workshop kind of areas are getting these thresholds on their credit cards that are astronomically high. Yeah. It's like, here's your monthly spending limit. It's $50,000, and the engineer way rather buy $50,000 worth of stuff on his credit card rather than have to wait for his PO to get cut because he's 10th down the queue from the purchasing department. So if you don't use credit cards, I would love to have a conversation of why.
Yeah.
Because there's so many cool ways, and it allows your buyer to essentially just go net 30 on himself, so you don't really have to worry about it because you're going to get paid in 48 hours from our platform. So if you close out the order, if not 5 days at max.
I mean, it really gets into the idea which a lot of the most successful companies today have done, which is make it as easy as possible for your customer to pay you. Right? Like, don't knock down every single hurdle to them paying for your service. Right? And so if customers have become very attuned to paying with a credit card, then it naturally makes sense to offer credit card payment.
Yeah. And the first hand that goes up is, what about the fees? It's like, we get the fees. Like we understand the fees. Obviously, we're not a credit card processing company. There's only a few of those out there. But we use the most secure and well-known credit card processing company in the world. So the idea of credit cards is there's a fee associated. When you use it in our platform, you're going to pay a certain amount. But what everybody says is, what if somebody checks out with a $150,000 order on a credit card? Like, I don't want to lose 5% of that. Like, okay, I get that. Like, granted, that makes perfect sense. That's a lot of money. $150,000 on a credit card is a lot. Like, I don't know if I would see that, but 30, 40, 50 grand, sub 10 grand is like easy as heck. And what it does is it makes your cash flows unbelievable. Yeah. So let's say your buyer at Boeing or some huge company is net 90. right?
Mm-hmm.
He checks out with a credit card, you get the money in 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
So that is like unheard of. Like you're normally purchasing the material on your line of credit, making it, sending it, and then waiting another month just to get paid, versus now you can be paid probably before the material shows up. In order to win simple work, personally, what I've experienced or what I've shared with so many people is you need to cater to every new customer that comes to your platform or comes to your website and offer them an experience that's similar to anything else that they've ever done. So have a kick-ass website. Shout out Marketing Services.
Big time.
Make it so they can request a quote from any page that they're on. If they're reading the About Us page because you have some cool bio, then make it when they get to the bottom, request a quote. Don't tuck it away in the front page in the bottom left-hand corner. And also your website, you can look as big as you want. So if you want to list your capabilities as CNC machining, wire EDM, lathe, and something else, don't put how many machines you have. It doesn't matter. The guy's not going to come check you out and like comb through your shop floor. So be as big as you want, look as good as you want, and then invest in your customer experience. So that's probably the three biggest things I have for winning simple work, and that all kind of ties back into just leveling up your shop altogether.
I think that was incredible. I think you hit every single point necessary there.
I talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
With people.
I might as well just shout out Drizzly.
Big shout out to Drizzly.
Because Drizzly supplies the beer
for the office.
And has for a while, and is again
fantastic.
As important as the water here. Like it's obvious if the beer's not it.
Absolutely. But I'd say the coolest thing that we did is when we hit a certain goal for our company, we got a kegerator for the office, which sounds very startup-y, which is totally okay.
It is, but
the best conversations and the best product innovations that we probably have come from a beer around the keg to sitting at a table all of a sudden to moving to a whiteboard all of a sudden to everybody going right back to their desks and just like cranking on whatever it is that they had just thought about because they got everybody else's input because we all stepped back for a moment and we had a beer, we talked, and then everyone's like, I got it.
When you pour yourself a beer, and whoever pours themselves a beer, it's usually to like celebrate an effort that's been done, right? It's like, all right, let's relax for a second. Yeah. And out of that informality is where that creativity almost unleashes.
People start drawing on Post-it notes.
Yeah. Because like that fear of like, oh, I got to crank, like I got to do this work, kind of falls away, right? And it's like, well, what about this idea? What about this idea?
Yeah, it happened the other day. We were trying to solve some sheet metal problem that the geometry team was working on. It was probably a couple weeks ago. We were having beers. We moved to the conference room. We started drawing on the board. Then we started like seeing who could figure out one part of it the fastest. So like all of a sudden there's like 6 of us in there trying to work on this thing. Yeah. And then next thing you know, there's like 8 of us in there trying to work on this thing. And then the geometry team ended up leaving because they were like, we figured it out.
Yeah, we got to go do it. Yeah.
But it was cool because it was like beer, drawing on paper. Wait, we need a whiteboard. Let's do it on a whiteboard. It's figured out. Yeah. They had spent the whole day trying to work on the thing. So that part's really cool about having beer in the office. What, episode 3?
Episode 3
in the books. If we have another guest next week, we'll bring him in. If not, we're just going to keep hitting super fun topics. You're going to catch these on LinkedIn. They're on YouTube,
Instagram.
I think the preview of them's on Instagram.
Yeah, we'll throw a preview up on Friday mornings. We'll do it.
Those that want them, maybe we're going to start a little mailing list so we can hit you with them automatically. But right now, we're just sending them to everybody that wants it, and it's been working out. So
awesome.
Cheers.
Cheers.